Hey, what's up? Welcome to the show. Welcome to Creative Emotions. Listen, well, you're going to get this encouragement, motivation, information, transparency, and you're going to get these good vibes. Thank you for joining me tonight. Listen, this is a live show. You can call in at 313-266-2811. 266-2811. This is a live show. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining me. Thank you for tuning in on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're joining me. Every week I have people asking, like, okay, what you talking about? What you talking about? I don't have Chef with me this week, but he will be back. I want to talk about something that's really buzzing right now, and it's buzzing to a point where, you know, we're labeling each other before we even get a chance to know each other based on, you know, certain personality traits. That's a real buzzword right now. So I feel like there is a war on love and connection with each other, and it starts with a couple of these disorders that I'm going to be speaking about. A lot of these, in my opinion, are spirits and energy that can transfer from person to person. I know a lot of times, you know, when you're around people, the habits and tendencies that they have, you know, different things, you may laugh like them, talk like them, you know, they may have a little word that they say, you know, like whatever it is, like, you know, we be around these people and we get these different things, these habits, and we take them, and we, you know, I'll be at home and I'll be talking about, hey girl, hey, like, you know, somebody I know. So it's like whatever you say, like when you're around people, we can get those things. So how far is negative tendencies and habits that we can, you know, be affected by? How far are those? It's not far at all. Like you really can, you know, it can apply. But today I want to talk about narcissism. Because, again, this is the word that is buzzing right now. And, you know, just to get a different approach to it. So according to Wikipedia, the term narcissism is derived from the Greek mythology of Narcissus, but was only coined at the close of the 19th century. This word has a whole totally different meaning. Like, you're talking about 19th century. So how many times it's changed, and its definition has changed, its value has changed, you know, the way people talk about it has changed. And so I want to talk about this a little bit tonight. Like I said, the term has changed over time, but it has become a strong house word. Everyone is talking about narcissists. Every time you look on any platform, you know, you have the memes about the narcissist and everybody talking about their relationship, and everybody go and talk about, yeah, and my man was this and my girl was that and this and that. And so this is how this term derived, and it's like ball and fire running rapid. So you can mention controlling. People gonna say they are narcissists. You can mention manipulation. They're gonna say narcissists. You know, we as a society have been quick to put labels on each other, and as adults, and even on our children, we put labels on, you know, our children as well. So although it may be a legit thing, I believe these disorders have accumulated based on individual personal history, trauma, and what's been done to them, or simply just not knowing better. A lot of people walking around here thinking they are right, they know what they're doing, they not wrong, and they feel solidified in that. Is it wrong? It could be, but coming from their perspective, their life, their view, how do we look at it? How fluent is our judgment and our labels on people? We have to really look into this thing. So again, this is not an excuse. It's an observation. It is a choice for some to act as they do, reaping the same benefits, destroying people in their path. They have to be the ones to see that. You know, a person who drink or smoke or have a drug problem, you know, you can go to them, you can plead with them, you can beg with them. Your house can be on fire. Things could be going in shambles. Until that person wants to change, things still remain the same. And that's just a fact. It's a fact. Definitely a fact. So when they destroy people's lives, these narcissists that I'm speaking about, eventually they have to deal with that. It's going to have to come back. But for us to be pointing and labeling people, everybody, I think it's going like a little bit too far, seriously. But we do have to do some self-realization. You know, look at yourself. Take note of what you're doing. Look up some of these things and see, do you have these tendencies? And then look at the people's lives that surround you. Are you destroying people's lives? Are you listening to the people around you? Are you listening to the people that love you? Because at the end of the day, those are the people that know you. I know somebody asked me something at work, or they asked me, am I the same everywhere I go? I say, yeah, I am the same everywhere I go. I don't care where I'm at. I mean, it could be church, it could be home, it could be out, it could be bingo, it could be riding a bike, it could be wherever. I don't have time to figure out how I was with this person, how I am with that person, how I was with, and how I showed them. And ain't nobody got time for that. I really don't have time for that. And I said, you know, the person you can ask is my children. You can ask my children all day long, like, how is your mom? They gon' tell you, like, she can be crazy. She can be real strict. She real spiritual. She real deep. You know, she fun. She this, she that. You know, they going to say all these things because I feel like we should exercise, you know, all of these things that, you know, we have within ourselves. But labeling, we got to be real careful with that. What's up, Fred? I see you. How you doing, sir? Thank you for joining this evening. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. And even if you're coming on later and you're tuning in, I sound kind of low in here. Is it my mic?
I thought it was too, and I turned it up all the way, but I don't know.
Oh.
Okay, you want to write that?
Sound kind of low. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, I had turned it up, but then I was like,
Yeah. It's cool. It's technology. But possessing a sense of importance and uniqueness are aspects of a fulfilled, happy life. But unfortunately, those with what they label NPD, that's narcissistic personality disorder, they kind of put their pedal to the metal and take it a little too far. So narcissism is personality qualities that include thinking very highly of oneself, needing admiration, believing they are inferior, and lacking empathy for others. This is one of the definitions. So now, according to 10 frequently asked questions.com, the statistics say 0.5% of general population in the U.S., with up to 75% of those being men, are narcissists. This is crazy. I'm not sure who did those numbers, but 75% of men, that's pretty steep. But if you think about it, if you think about how times have changed, it's a real thing. The war came, the men left, the women entered the workforce, which left the children kind of by themselves. The women wanted equality, they wanted rights, they wanted wages, like the men. Men used to provide and expect women to stay home and take care of the kids. That has changed. All of that has changed. Well, you know, some people run their house the same way, which is, you know, to each his own. But this caused a social explosion in my mind, and it has left men and women lost with the power of control. I think everybody want the control. You know, the men want the control. The women feel like she needs to have a sense of control and power, and so I feel like it's just boom, it's going crazy. That's why men and women can be narcissists. That's a real thing. That's a real thing. But this leads to my first observation with this just not being a man thing, but women and men is being power hungry and nobody wants to follow. If nobody wants to follow, if you are blessed with a woman in your life and she's supposed to be able to regurgitate what you give her. And if you have this woman and she may come off as strong and, you know, have your back, that's your job to pull out the qualities that can be beneficial for you and your family. It's not up to you to be like, oh, woman, this is how you should be. No, you should want her to be an individual. If you have a man that is not so straightforward and on it, but you are, like, this is where the balance come in at. I think the roles have just totally changed. It's in oblivion at this point. Like, we need to take note of the different qualities that we have in each other, not try to necessarily change. I'm going to change you because you too strong. I'm going to change you because you ain't strong enough. And No, because each one can bring that balance. So it's important that we, keep that in mind. But women have everything. Nowadays, women have everything. They taking care of themselves. They got the house, the car, the food. The bills is paid, but they want a man. So a man is asked, what can I do for you? What can I do for you as a woman? But women are saying they don't need men. That's an oxymoron. Like, what is happening now? How can you despise the very thing that you desire? The women that I know that want to be in relationships, they have everything together, they strong and this and that. But, I think Fred mentioned this before, like leaving room, we're not leaving room, for these men, which lead right back to this power and this control. But men, you got to step up, because if you got to run the house, it's got to be your house, or y'all better have it together, because that's the problem. It's her house, and that is a problem. I see you, TL. Definitely different from what we are used to in history. Yeah, definitely. It's all crazy. But we're evolving, and it's expected. And we can be patient with that. We can be patient with, how we're evolving. Things are different. Relationships are different. The genders in relationships everything is different. So we're not looking for things to stay the same, but labeling each other and, pointing fingers, I don't think that that's helping the problem. But I am here to bring up this particular disorder because it is running rapid, and just talk about a few things that, that's plaguing, or that, it's an issue. So what are most of them left with? To show that they're a man. So once a woman got everything, I got my house, I got my car, I pay my own bills, I do this, I do that, I do that. And so what do men have left to do? That's the question. They have their masculinity, which can come across like anger. They can be controlling, lashing out, because it's a huge imbalance. It's a huge imbalance with what we're left with. But I feel men are asking, where do they fit in the equation? This is a real thing. Where do they fit? And this is for, women that want men, that you want a man, but this whole narcissist word is flying rapid. So any one little thing, people are getting labeled like, oh, he's a narcissist. Oh, he's a this, he's a that, or she's a this, she's a that. And, we do need to be a little bit more mindful, have a little bit more compassion. But this is why I talked about a war on love and connection. This narcissist spirit can come from narcissist parents who turn around and teach their children narcissist tendencies. So this can just be a generational thing. That's why it's important that whatever we learn, we unlearn when it is not conducive to the growth or the evolvement in which we are in right now. Not looking for things to stay the same. Things won't stay the same. They're going to evolve. But we have to learn how to evolve with it to make it work for us. Definitely. And this is a live show. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This is a live show. You can call in at 313-266-2811. If you have been in a narcissistic relationship and you just know that this definition applies, you can call in and talk about that, and talk about, how did you get out of it, or, how did you feel about it? 313-266-2811. But the narcissist spirit can, I believe, like I said, with any habit, any long time being around somebody, you will be able to say some of the things that people say. Like, my daughter came home and she was just putting emphasis on everything. Like, dang, straight in my face. Dang, straight balling or falling or whatever. I'm like, where is this coming from? She said it was somebody else whose house she had been over. I guess that's how she was talking. And I'm like, girl, like, then I start saying, girl, dang, what are you doing? And it's like, okay, this is really how this happens. That's why you got to be careful who you're around, who you vibing with, who in your energy field. It's always good to show that love and give that love, but you got to be careful if you're, open and susceptible to other people's energy more so than your own. But do you know someone like this? This goes back to last week's show when we talked about self-righteousness. I see you, Fred. We talked about that self-righteousness. Do you know someone who thinks they're better than everyone else but flies off the handle with the slightest bit of criticism? They say that's a narcissist. That's one of them. But this grandiose image and inflated self-image allows them time to avoid deep feelings of insecurity. Now, that goes back to wanting to, be more of something than you are. Again, I'm talking about the narcissist tendencies, but that grandiose image, you just like, oh, I'm this and I'm that. And your house is dirty, your car is trash, you got a nice outfit on, but it's just like, what? Wait a minute now, you gotta make it make sense. If you're gonna be that way, just make sure you striving for every area in your life before you look down on somebody else or feel like you better than somebody else. We shouldn't even be sizing ourselves up to anybody anyway. I don't even know where that even came from. Like, where was it embedded? Where was it influenced? I know it's constantly influenced, but we have to be mindful not to bring that stuff in and measure ourselves to anybody. Because then you never know. You could be measuring yourself to a narcissist. Clearly, because these definitions. But doing this, however, takes a lot of work, which is where the dysfunctional attitudes and behaviors come in. This malfunction has broken individuals down even to suicide. When you think about relationships, people that have been in relationships with controlling, manipulative, narcissistic people, it weighs down on your mental. I definitely was in a relationship with a narcissist, from what the definition is explaining, and it can have you questioning your self-worth. You can really be looking at yourself like, dang, like, am I? Like, no, that's why you're supposed to know who you are. That's why, that self-importance is something that you should have, because you should think highly of yourself. But the way that you can get torn down, if you don't even have a foundation of your own self-worth, it's out of this world. And so, yes, people have been pushed to even taking their own lives because of this type of person around them. The manipulation and control that take place can be detrimental to anyone who genuinely has a good heart and come in contact with someone like this. So I'm just going to speak about, a few of them. As men, we were taught to provide, protect, and guide. I hear you, TL. That's what's up. And I hope you teaching your sons, and they teach their sons, and they just keep going. And women teaching their daughters the same thing, to be able to receive, to be able to allow, to be able to respect. It's not one-sided, but that's a real thing. Thank you guys for joining. But if you come in contact with someone like this, the need for constant praise and admiration, and if I can give you an illustration, it's like a balloon that gradually lose air, and without a steady stream of applause and recognition, it just keep inflating. So you got to keep on, just pushing it up and pushing it up. Are you around somebody like this? Lives in a fantasy world that supports their delusion of grandeur. Like, oh yeah, he the bomb, he this, he that. Oh, that's my girl, she this, she that. And she's a private failure, or he's a private failure and a public success. That's an issue. We have to be real with people, especially if we calling them friends, especially if we calling them family. So, all right, we got a caller. Hi, welcome to the show. Who am I speaking with?
Chef Wilson.
Hey, Chef, welcome to the show, buddy.
Yeah. You feeling today?
I am doing awesome and amazing. How are you?
I'm amazing.
I'm glad. Oh, you can't say the awesome. That's
Yeah, you got me last time.
That's what's up.
I do like today's show topic,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this will help a lot of people, because I can really relate to this. And I just recently, I believe, got out of a situation like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which led me to do a little research.
Mm-hmm.
And for the ones who may be going through this, I say, do a little research on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
that narcissist sort of disorder or personality, we shouldn't label it right away unless you do your research. You know how we feel about looking up words and make
Yeah, for
sure
sure. And spend a little bit more time with people before you start labeling them.
before you start labeling. But I did do research because when you are in a relationship or you have to relate to someone who has this personality trait,
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you're losing your mind.
Mm. Okay, so that did speak to, a little bit of what I just spoke about.
Oh
People literally lose their life because they can't take it no more, or mentally it's draining. So I personally was in that type of situation, and it'll have you at your lowest if you let it.
And like you said, so how do these relationships end? Most of the time, pretty bad, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
this effect can almost destroy you,
Yeah,
and it would have you out of character, right?
yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
and then I did a little research on it, like love bombing. I mean, you're
Yes,
saying in the beginning, my queen, my king,
yeah,
and that thing
that junk
changed,
died real quick.
and you, what? I was just the king. What happened, right?
Mm,
And it is, I believe it could be a pass down from a parent,
definitely.
someone in your life, right? So we have to be careful with that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my personal experience with it was draining.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I was coming or going.
Wow.
Um, you looking in the mirror, questioning yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I looked at the personality traits. Like I think the word is empath. Like
Yeah.
I find good in everybody, right?
Yeah.
And these traits I'm about to talk about, they're like the way they word is like crack to someone who's a narcissist, and then you're a forgiver. So when you have a forgiving spirit,
Mm-hmm.
they get permission to continue to with their disrespectful ways, and everything is all about them.
Mm.
Um, and then they have a spirit of playing the victim, and they have to win. So when a relationship ends, it's always they play the victim,
Oh,
and
for
they'll
sure.
at all costs make you look horrible because their thing is to gather everyone on their side
Mm-hmm.
so they win. And that's part of a narcissist personality. Maybe it works in like business for them or their career,
Mm-hmm.
but they
Having that
overwhelm you.
dogma.
Yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
have to, right? So if you find yourself in a situation like this, um, and I'm glad that you're having the show, so hopefully some listening audience with taking notes on this, you have to slow down because it will put you mentally in a space where you don't know if you're coming or going. I'm gonna say that again.
Yeah, 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 for sure. How do you, okay, after you have to pick up your pieces, after you've dealt with someone with these tendencies, do you feel equipped enough to see it again before it happens? Because that's the point.
Yes, now I do. So
That's
much
good.
like do the shows, I pay attention to those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not totally writing people out my life, but I do pay attention to things that have been said. Say, okay, well, maybe this is someone I probably wouldn't be romantically involved with, but
Mm-hmm.
I can just as a friend. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
for
saying?
sure, for sure. Putting people in those places.
Right, absolutely. But just to answer your question, I think I am equipped to now notice that. But um, you have to place yourself in a peaceful place. So that means that for me, as much as I like being a husband, I love relationships. I
Mm-hmm.
really do.
Yeah.
I had to take a break from that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because what the one thing you don't want to do is to leave the best part of you in a bad situation, and that can happen.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's true.
Um, and
That
it
is
was
true.
this week alone, and I had people come to me that I'd had conversations with
Mm-hmm.
over the last. and they just told me how they appreciate certain qualities in me, and I was like, wow, where'd this come from?
That's
And it went
good. Yeah, for sure.
well, right. So, for the ones, if you're not sure if you're operating in this energy, I'm sure um, Q has a lot of good information. And, we're not blaming you because it may have been a personality trait that was passed on from your mother, grandma, father,
Yeah,
where it come from.
definitely can be
But
passed down.
yeah, so you know how I feel about looking in the mirror and you have ouch moments. And if you see yourself in some of these traits that Q will be talking about this evening, just bag up and say, hey, you know what? Maybe I need to get a little help, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had said something before, and I had watched particular people passing down this to their children just by the things they said.
Yep.
I'm like, wow. But I didn't know it then, but
Mm-hmm.
now I recognize it. Wow, man, they were really telling their kids this?
Yep.
Wow.
That's a real thing.
So it's a real thing here. Um, but let's not mislabel this thing because like you said, it is a hot word these days. But like
Mm-hmm.
anything else, do your own research. Take what Q is going to give you this evening, and then take out some time to make sure you're not operating in this energy. If you do, pray about it. And guess
Definitely.
what? We always talk about it's okay to reach out and get some help. But
Definitely.
I'm I am one who, and Q, you know me very well. I'm very transparent.
Mm-hmm.
I dealt with it, and it wasn't that easy process to get out of,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you this personality trait, 9 times out of 10, because they have you in such a confused state of being, you usually stay in it longer than you should,
Definitely. I
right?
definitely overstayed my stay, but I learned
I
a lot.
overstay my stay.
I listen.
Oh,
I'm okay because I learned a lot, and all experience is good experience, and I'm okay
that's
with that.
we learn from it. So
Thank you so
that's
much.
I just
Thank you. I
but
appreciate you calling.
yeah, thank you, Q,
Keep
for
listening.
topic too.
Thanks.
Oh, keep being amazing.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome, amazing. Uh, all right, thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much for that call, Chef. You always on time. Okay. I see you. But, like I was saying, if you were in contact with someone like this, and I talked about the need for constant praise and admiration, lives in a fantasy world that supports their delusion of grandeur. These fantasies can protect them from the feelings of inner emptiness and shame. So facts and opinions that contradict them are ignored and rationalized away. This part right here, you can have the whole world telling you, like, no, this is what you're doing. This is how you're making people feel. And if they can't rationalize, if they like, oh, no, that ain't me. I don't do that. I ain't said that. I don't do this. I don't do that. And everything, nothing you do, that's a problem. That is a red flag. That is a red flag. So number 4, it exploits others without guilt or shame. They lack empathy. They can't put themselves in another person's shoes to see a different perspective. And so I've had a situation where I'm like, you don't see how that can make me feel away? And they're like, no, I ain't do nothing. Or, it's just like, wow. And so these are just some of the traits. Frequently demeans, intimidates, bullies, or belittles others. Narcissists feel threatened whenever they encounter someone who appears to have something they lack. That's an insecurity. That's an issue that, you need to deal with as an individual. So if you see these, different qualities in people, or they play the victim. This is the last one. You play the victim. Playing the victim, oh my goodness. It's like, come on, at some point, you got to face up to something. At some point, come on, that's ridiculous. But these people can be very magnetic and charming. When you put yourself first and come up from under this dysfunctional, you will realize that your needs won't be fulfilled or recognized. And when you know that, it's like, okay, I'm beating a dead horse at this point. You can change your expectations. You must pay attention to how others are being treated aside from you. It's not just you. So if the whole family get into business, then What make you think you special? I seen somebody flinch at a dog. Like, like a little dog. Like, And I'm like, that's that bullying, that intimidating, demeaning. Just the smallest little things you pay attention to, a person. You ain't cool with none of your family? Nah, wait a minute now. What's going on? Nobody? Now, I get family gonna be family, but I need to see some interaction with somebody. Like, because, I ain't gonna be the one. But take off the rose-colored glasses. Again, if you are dealing with somebody that's operating in this, I see you, Eric. Thank you so much for joining. Fowls. Venom. I know your name. But take off the rose-colored glasses. Focus on your own dreams. Nowadays, we need to call a spade, and we need to stop, labeling the stuff. Just call it what it is. You being selfish right now. Like, can we communicate? Like, that was real manipulative what you said. Why does it have to be a label all the time? Now, we're talking about the narcissism, but why can't we just call it what it is? However you're feeling, just be real. We grown. We couldn't wait to get to this part so we could say what we want to say. But now it's a way to say things to consider others. So this is my plea. Please, stop it. Just tell people how you feel. Talk about it without being demeaning or cussing people out or bullying them or just talking reckless. Like, it's just... Yeah, it's not beneficial. It does not work. And you leave a trail of people that don't like you for real in the end. So please just take that into consideration. If you are just joining, this is a show about narcissism. This is a topic that's running rapid. Everybody calling each other this, so I don't know. I don't know what's happening. But a few don'ts, if you are in a relationship with one. Don't buy into the version of who the narcissists say you are. As I spoke earlier, you will question your self-worth. You will literally know who you are, and then by the time they finish, you'll be questioning who you are. And dang, well, do I really? And because that control and that manipulation is a totally different, situation. Don't argue with them. Unless they have gotten their own revelation, you are wasting your time and your energy. You can go back and forth with a person with these tendencies all you want. If they don't see nothing wrong, if the light bulb ain't come on their head, you're wasting your time. Know yourself. This goes back to the whole reason why I have a podcast, to bring back the self-love, the self-awareness, so that you will be able to love your neighbor like you love yourself. If you don't even know yourself, how's somebody else going to get to know you? You don't even know you. Well, what are we doing here? You don't even know what you like. But let go of the need for approval. Let go. That right there, that just took me to a whole different level in my mind on my journey. I ain't talking about you and nobody else, but for me, not worrying about what other people think when you know that you're genuinely doing your best and you're trying to live this life the best way you can. Honey, what? Thinking about what somebody think? Yeah, no. Not doing it. Let go of the need for approval. Don't give fuel to people that take pleasure in your pain. Again, this is not a man or women. This is men and women. Men and women can operate in these tendencies, in these characteristics. So I'm not pointing out just one person. I'm not just saying men are narcissists. I'm not just saying women are. These are characteristics that people deal with when you're leaving a trail of hurt people behind you. And you need to take accountability for what you're doing. So this is what we're talking about. Don't give fuel to people who take pleasure in your pain. So if you know that you told somebody, when you do that, it really hurts me. It really hurts my feelings. And they keep doing it, then this is what I'm talking about. This is somebody that's taking pleasure in your pain. That's not love. That person needs to go and figure themselves out, because that don't make sense. But look at other relationships that are ruined. You don't have to go in the past. You can just look at the current relationships. I care about people's relationships with their parents. That's important. Like, these are people that we have these expectations for off the rip. You're my mom, you're my dad. And so we have these expectations, and then we're not even putting in play they're individuals. They're human. They had a whole life before us, and they may be dealing with their own trauma and drama and different things that they're dealing with. Until you get to that point when you can look at them like, you know what? You're an individual first. Then you will be able to love. Then you will be able to forgive. And I'm bringing this up because when I say I care about people's relationships with their parents, that's the first thing. You don't know what they did, or they left me, or they abandoned me, or they did this, or they did that. And I know you have your valid reasons. But my encouragement to you is look at them as individuals first. Look at them that way first. And then you'll have a different level of compassion when it comes to them being individuals first. I care about relationships with parents. Whether you deal with it or don't deal with them. You know, you shouldn't have no negative, I don't F with them, I don't fool with them. And no. You got some healing to do. You got some dealing to do. Deal with that stuff. While you here in this earth suit, in this time, space, reality, deal with that pain, deal with that hurt. Because you spilling over on people that did not cut you, and it's wrong. It's wrong. We got to look into this for real. But if you see yourself in anything described here, I want to encourage you again to seek help. More people suffer when we operate in this dysfunction. Remember, I said we, because we all have done some of these things. But this is just encouragement, which is one of the things I tell you, you're going to get on the show. Motivation, you're going to get this encouragement, you're going to get these good vibes, you're going to get some transparency, you're going to get some information. You're going to get it all. But you know it's dysfunction when it's not, and it has not been working for you. That's how you know. So, to the people that, you may see yourself in some of these things, I'm going to leave you with a few. Introduce yourself to the possibility of there being 2 or more right answers. Just know you're not always right, and it's okay. I be okaying people to death now. They tell me what they say, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, if we can agree to disagree, right? You say what you say, I say what I say. It's no need for me to get upset so you can see it my way. What are we doing? No. Just be okay with the fact that there's not just one answer, but there may be 2. And it may be 3. It may be 4. It all depends on the person. And this is some encouragement for those who may see yourself operating in this narcissistic behavior, in these characteristics. Number 2, be open to feedback without getting offended. This right here is so grown up. If people can get this, honey, we'll be on the road to success. Everything should not be an offense. Somebody say something to you like, what? Then y'all beefed out. Then you take them off Facebook. Then you done block them. It's like, can't nobody deal with that no more? We can't have real conversations no more? This is what this is? Because if you're not having conversations, then you talking at people and you cussing them out. Like, come on, y'all. We got to get better. We got to get better. We got to love each other like we love ourselves. And if you don't love yourself, go on that journey of loving yourself. Please. Being more in touch with the present moment. Be more present. Come out of what you used to do and how you used to be and back in the day and all this. Come out of there. Just be present. Be present. This is really all we have. Identify past trauma and stop saying you straight. Look at the trail of people that's behind you. Everybody would be like, I'm good, I'm straight, I'm good. No, you're not. You're not good. And it's okay. It's okay to get some help. The last one is have compassion. Please, please, please don't take this personal. If you're in a relationship with someone with these characteristics, don't take it personal. These are personal situations we have to be adult enough to deal with. To look in the mirror and say, you know what? This is not helping me. It's actually hurting me, and it's hurting the people around me. And so I want to encourage you today, tonight, this evening, if you see yourself in any of these things that I talked about, just acknowledge it, chew it up, look at how it will work for you if you change those things. If you took note, took a note, a mental note, everybody around you, all the relationships you've had, all the different people that you're not talking to anymore, all the different family members you done fell out with, or people you done blocked and all this. Take note of all of that. The denominator is you, right? Not to say you wrong, but just take note of where could you have done anything wrong? What have you done wrong? Are you doing something wrong? Are you being controlling and manipulative? And you know it because it works for you. Are you doing these things? Take note, self-accountability, and it's your job to do it. Nobody can do it for you. Guess what? I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. I thank you guys so much for joining me this evening. Meet me here next week, same time, 6 o'clock. Don't be late. I hope you learned something today. Guess what? I said what I said. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Peace.